Hatfield again for another great episode with Secure Set. We are in a northern suburb of the greater Oklahoma City area. This is Leslie. She is the homeowner, and we've been in discussion for a while about an issue that they have here in front of the garage and also in the downslope of their driveway. So what it appears that has happened is that we have a base layer, which is the garage floor, and we're going to call this area right here, this is our primary piece, and so this is what we're going to concentrate on. Leslie is going to be doing most of the work, and so tell us a little bit about how long this has been here. What do you think is actually going on and why?
It's actually been dropped for about 15 years, I think. And we believe the reason is we've got a downspout that just flows water here, and it's probably eroded.
Do you have any idea if there's an actual void underneath it or not?
I do not.
Okay, so one of the things that you have to do first is visually it's pretty easy to determine what has happened. But from an audible standpoint, it's best to get down and actually hammer sound. So Leslie, let's do this floor first. We'll get a nice ring here. All right, now let's move along here and see what happens. Oh, right there, yeah. Do that one again, right there. Yeah. Actually, I can feel it under my feet. I can feel it. So based on the different sound that we get from hammering not only the garage floor, but this area right here, is this obviously sounds hollow. And so what we have is we have a dropping away of this portion of the concrete, but actually I think there are voids, measurable voids under this. But you don't know that until you actually drill, and then you can measure. So number one, we've established that this sounds hollow. We've established that this is going to be our
primary piece.
This is going to be our primary piece, and that means that we're going to work to bring everything up to this level. So what we're going to do, we're going to drill 4 holes. This is 9 feet long. We're going to drill 4 holes along here. Those will be our injection ports, and that's our first order of business. All right, well done. You know, the initial phases of the repair have started. Excellent sounding, drilling. Next thing we need to do, and this is nothing but a lengthened coat hanger with a little bend on the end, but very effective to determine, first things first, number one, for example here, go down and catch the edge of the concrete, and it's important to find out what the depth of your concrete is. So you have a 5-inch thick. They have 5-inch thick slab. So we're going to just we're going to move along. I'm going to do the first one. Two-inch.
2-inch, okay.
Two and almost a half. Wow, almost, it's 3.5 inch, 8.5 inches total, so that's a 3.5 inch deep hole there. And 2 inches, so 2, 3.5, 2 and 2. What I like to do is get a good reference for that. Two, 3.5, 2.5, and 2?
Yes.
So from a perspective of how this is going to flow, we'll start injecting here and we'll move down the line like this. You may notice the weights here. Okay. Most slabs sink on one side. So you have to sort of envision that this is like the swinging of a door. That is still even with the garage floor. So this is going to be your hinge point. This is the movable part of the door, or basically this would represent the door sash right here. So what we're going to do is we want to swing the slab upward to meet the primary piece. We don't want to lift the whole thing uniformly so that we're even here and now we're up 2.5 or 2 inches on the backside. So I like to put weights, some form of weights, along what I consider to be the hinge point. Anything is good. Anything that's heavy. Heck, if we had the space, you could even park your car right there and use the weight of the tire to hold that in. Barbells, weights from a workout room, anything like that will work. But I think that's important basically to help keep that portion of the swinging door in place. Actually, we're ready to go with the injection, so that's the next phase of it. All right, we're ready to go.
All right.
Okay. So go ahead and come around this side.
Okay.
And I've already taken the top out so we can carry it around, but go ahead and do that. Open it up. Pull out these first. Now you can see that the hoses go through these slots like that, okay? And before we close the lid off, go ahead and pressurize the lines, so turn these on. Okay, once you get to the maximum, just crack them back just a little. And there we go. All right, we're ready to get down to the fun part. So, Leslie, I've prepped a bunch of these nozzles for this presentation, but I want to show you how to do it, okay? So first of all, here, let me hold this. Take a pair of scissors, and with that, just snip off the tip of that mixer, like that. Perfect. So now we have this, right? But what we want is we want to put some of this electrician's tape around the end. That will act as sort of like a little soft seal through the holes that we've drilled. So just take this electrician's tape and put about, I don't know, 3 wraps around it, and up from there up to the fins, yeah. And maybe one more. Fantastic. So that's how you prep the nozzle, very easy. Just snip and then tape. Puts it on, straight on, and rotate.
All right.
Excellent.
Locked on there.
Okay, so now, most important thing, you want to make sure that the flow is uniform coming through the tubes. So do a test shot into the corner, and you have to pull that safety off and let her go. Very good. Okay, now reset the safety. Excellent. All right, move this out of the way. Now, Leslie, go ahead and position yourself there. Now, what we're going to do, because sometimes the movement of the concrete is slow enough that you don't necessarily, get a good visual. This will help us get a good visual on the movement of the concrete. All right, so you don't have, there's not much pressure that you have to put on the nozzle going in, but go ahead, let her go.
Nope, I didn't.
There we go. So remember, in our previous test, 1 minute of dispensing is the equivalent of 1 cubic foot of dispensed foam. You get a little bit more pressure on it to try to seal that up a little bit. There you go. Let me do this. Okay, now go ahead.
So, into this one?
Into that one.
Okay.
All right, so just hang on to that just a little bit, and it'll harden up pretty darn quick. Okay, now I think you can probably pull it out safely. There we go. Okay, go to the next one. Yep. Let's move this out of the way for now. Boy, we have a really clear channel underneath. That's really good.
I keep waiting to see if it'll come with that one.
Got a big void here.
Look where it's coming.
Oh my goodness. All right, so let's stop here.
Yeah.
Boy, it has run a long way.
That's interesting.
Okay, so what we do now, we just have to let this harden. The first thing we want to do though is we want to take care of our gun. So I want you to pull that out, take this off, and dig it around and clean that out. Okay, and then you take a little bit of that and you put it over there and then spread it deep into there. All right, that'll seal that up to keep air from contaminating the front of the tool. We've completed one of the initial phases of the lift, and that's we have filled this cavity, this lengthy cavity. Kind of an interesting phenomenon here. We were filling this third hole, and we had product coming out, what is that, hole number 3 more down, so that's at least 6-7 feet away, so we know we have great flow. So what we've done here is we have allowed the high density foam to solidify beneath the concrete. That's going to be our base. Now we're going to go back and we're going to remove these nozzles, and we are going to re-drill through the foam and get the hole underneath the solidified foam. So basically we're going to use that as the platform to lift the concrete. There you go. Let's go all the way down. Go ahead. Even if we didn't, let's go ahead and drill this one. I mean, no foam came up. All right, you see it, yeah. All right, okay. So now we go back here, and now this is the eye opener right here. So, and most importantly, we want to make sure that if we start to move this, concrete, we want to see it to be evident. There we go. Okay, you know what? Let's fill these two first, and if it's going to go that way, all right. And we already know that they're
ready.
Yeah, it's ready. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, try to let's get a nice seal on that. That means we got pressure immediately. That's good. That means it went down, and now it's going underneath. See that? Solidifies pretty quickly. It's pretty nice. Okay, Leslie, you do that one. Now, if you get that, just sort of move it, or trigger it very, very slowly at first. Perfect. Excellent. Good job. You have to make sure that if it starts to come up there, we want to stop because we want that to solidify, basically seal that off. But it's
Watch that one as well.
yeah. Okay, let's stop there and just hold on a little bit because it'll come shooting out. Excellent.
Not so bad.
All right, let's move over here. That's good. Excellent. All right.
Oh, it is coming.
Oh, No, it is perfect. Excellent. Look at that. Fantastic. That's fantastic. We're going to start moving concrete here in a minute.
That's coming out here.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah,
Wait a little longer.
yeah, hang on to that. Oh, that's fantastic. Good. All right, let's move down here. Back to this one. Give it a little test shot quick. Quick. There we go. All right. Perfect. Seal it off. Rock it back towards you a little bit. There you go. Well, as it turns out, the cavity under here was a little bit more than we had anticipated, but that's okay because now we know we have a great base of foam underneath this slab. That's a lot of foam. You know, we've been spraying this for quite a while, and so when you get down to the end, obviously you can determine how much is left by how much it doesn't weigh anymore, but also you can hear it. You can hear the gurgling coming through, and so that would be an indication that we're getting very close to the end. All right, let's stop on that one and hold it. What I think we're going to do is let's drill a new hole right about here. Run that all the way down. There you go. Oh, you got flow, good, okay. You can hear it gurgling. Well, you know, a lot of people ask us how long we have to wait between injections, and really the answer is just wait long enough for it to solidify. That way, when you re-inject, you're going back down through the foam and underneath, and you're acting, each injection is acting like another layer, basically to begin to lift the concrete. So here's what's happening. You know, the product is flowing underneath the ones that the layer we've already injected. Now, the compressibility of the foam is greater than that of the soil. So there comes a time when the soil is being pushed down to the point where it won't compress anymore. And so because of the expansive reaction, now the only thing that can happen is that the concrete's going to have to start to lift. Well, I would say that the voids were a little bigger than we had anticipated, but that's okay. Because now we know there's no water that's going to get in there from that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop this, let it depressurize. We're going to move down to here again, and I'm just going to real quickly drill that. Okay, while you're letting that harden up. Let's get a clearing shot on that nozzle here, quick before it hardens up. Yeah, shoot in here in the box. Okay, we don't have much pressure left in that, so probably going to have to get a new one pretty soon. All right. Well, we have dispensed almost 10 cubic feet of foam, so that was a very large void. I would imagine that some of the foam is pushing underneath this primary slab. This will solidify this, but what we have to do is make sure that we get this to start to move.
If we finish this today and I finish up the foam, but I didn't order enough, can I come back in a week or so and keep working on it?
Yeah, actually, and it would be very much to your advantage because the foam will have hardened significantly. So what I would do is I would re-drill these holes, but I hear some air coming out along this crack. That's good. It is amazing how far it's going. Okay, did you turn the valves on all the way? Guys, this is changing. Well, you know, we're about an hour and 20 minutes into the project, and what we've accomplished so far is obviously we've drilled this 8-foot and 9-foot section. What we found, interestingly enough, is that there is a continuity of the cavity that runs from here all the way down to the other crack. And as we were filling this, we noticed obviously that there was foam coming out of the pre-drilled holes, and eventually this slab here rose to dead even. So this phase of the project is finished. This one is giving us a little more trouble, and so what happened is that as even though we put weights on this portion right here, this slab, instead of swinging up, it basically raised up slightly like this. So we have about another 1/4 inch of raise on this side that we didn't want. So we're going to increase the weight here, and that will help stabilize this. And then we're going to come back and we're going to start to re-inject these drilled holes to bring it. One other thing that we've done is that these expansion joints were set with some very heavy tar-like sealer, and we have removed that basically to give the interface between the slabs less friction. So we want that to be a little more smoother. And so hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to stabilize this end, and then we're going to rotate this slab up by eliminating some of this friction between the two, between the interface. So that's the next phase of what we're going to accomplish.
Hopefully that's all right.
So the situation that we had, as you saw before, was that the slab was lifting kind of uniformly instead of swinging up. So we've moved the car in and we focused the weight of the car over the crack with the use of the ramps. So this will keep that edge down, and so now we're just going to go back to these frontal pre-drilled holes, and we'll start the process of lifting the interface between the two slabs. So we've pulled the car up, we've put some plastic over it to protect it from any unintended spray, and I'm just going to re-drill these holes to give us access again.
Don't ever worry about it.
Stop it for a little bit.
Anything like that.
Yes. Gosh, this has been such an interesting project. The phenomenal thing is that our estimation of how big this void was slightly underestimated. We have put almost 20 cubic feet of foam under this area of the concrete, and we've got some good indication of lift here. Once the foam started to come out of the seam, it hardened, and then as it lifted, we've got about 1 1/8 inch of lift. When we measured it previously, it was about 1.5 to 1 7/8 inch deep. So we've had some initial push, and then we've had that last 1 1/8. We want to bring it up about another 1/4 inch or so, and so we've got one more hole we're going to drill right there, and we've got some product left in the canister, so we're going to try to bring up that corner right there. There you go. One little shot. One little shot. Let me move that cord out of the way. Okay, ready? Well, you know, it's going underneath the foam. Okay, careful. Oh, yeah. Hey, we're at 1.25 inches. All right, we'll stop. Okay. Okay, just let that harden. There you go. What a day. Leslie, you were fantastic. So we set out to correct these imperfections in the concrete. One of the improvisions that we had to do, obviously, is that we had to have more weight shifted to the hinge portion of the concrete. We had to lift this section about 1 7/8, about 1 7/8 inch. We've effectively done that. So we have these various holes that we've drilled. We fill them, we let it set, we re-drill them so that we can put the foam underneath and have that as a lifting plate. Leslie, you did the drilling, you did the injection.
I found the process very straightforward, very easy to do. I'd never done anything like this before, not even with the drill, you know, in the concrete. I thought the product was very easy to use. No mixing, a little bit of a mess, but that was more my learning curve than the product's learning curve, and couldn't be happier with how it came out.
Well, interestingly enough, we did discover that the cavity underneath the concrete was significantly larger than we thought it was. We've used 2 full canisters of product that's 20 cubic feet, so it went somewhere.
Yeah.
But what's nice to know is that all of those voids are filled. They're not going to be subject to water flowing underneath the concrete anymore. We've got a great stabilization of these slabs along the front of the garage. A great job and really a awesome job by Leslie. So we want to thank you all for tuning in again. This has been another great day and another great day for Secure Set.